So get this meeting officially called to order. And we want to do a roll call. We've got some new people that's officially here. Some of them were in the special call meeting. We had really business to take care of that day. But we want Robin to kind of do a roll call. And just since we've got some new people, the existing people that's been here for a long time, just a short little who you are, where you're from. But then when we get to Gary and Sheena, we want the whole half-hour spiel. Seriously, just a little bit about yourself. But Rob, if you will do roll calls, everybody, when you answer, if you will, just where you're from and who you are, please.
Start with John Donovan.
John Doherty, I'm the chair, and also an MTech, electrical contractor, education director.
Matt Montgomery.
I'm Matt Montgomery. I represent the IT category, work with SAP, a global software company, and I've been on the board for about 9 years, and I am the treasurer.
Dolly Holland.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dolly. I'm your vice chair. I work for Blind Point Central Kentucky, so it's 4 hospitals here in Central Kentucky. And I represent the private sector.
My name's Drake.
Did you hear that? Micah.
Who?
Micah.
Micah.
Sorry, I'm driving. Yes, Micah Drake. I'm as secretary of the board. I am in the business sector. I'm the plant manager at Carhartt in Irving, Kentucky.
Debbie Link.
Sorry, I'm not used to this. I'm used to Zoom. So I'm Debbie Link. I am the executive director of the Child Care Council of Kentucky, and I represent the early childhood community.
Donna Angel.
City of Berea Business Development Director.
Darlene Thomas.
Not sure if she heard you.
Darlene.
Earbuds in. Go ahead.
She's driving also.
Come back there.
Oh, there she is.
Can you hear?
Who?
Darlene. We don't want her to have anything that she doesn't, so.
I think she probably, we can see her.
Darlene Thomas is with Greenhouse 17.
Thank
Pam Hatcher.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pam Hatcher, business representative here on the board. I work for Trilogy Health Services.
Connie Schnell.
Yes, Connie Schnell. I'm the regional program manager for the Education and Labor Cabinet, specifically the Career Development Office. I oversee Bluegrass and Northern Kentucky, and I sit on both workforce investment boards in those locations.
Danita Eckler.
My name's Danita Eckler. I'm with Edie Bullard Company. We are a personal protective equipment manufacturer located in Savannah, Kentucky. I'm the global learning developer.
Paula Nolan.
Good afternoon. I'm work at Hester Yale Group in Berea. I'm in human resources, been with the company for 31 years.
Gary Allen.
Yes, Gary Allen, that's my first official meeting. I've been with Plastic Floor America. We're a injection molding automotive group in Danville, Kentucky. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Sheena Link.
Hey, everybody. My name is Sheena Link, and I guess this is my first official meeting. I was at the special called meeting last month, but I'm really excited to work with you all and to get to know each and every one of you. I have been with the Laborers Union for 24 years. I'm currently taking a new position in Lawrenceburg as the director for our LESIT program. So I do a lot of community and contractor engagement. Basically, you know, I'm here to have a trained, skilled workforce and to get local people on local jobs. So I look forward to partnering with every one of you all and working alongside. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Shirley Bottom,
Good afternoon. I am the Boyle County Judge Executive. Great to be with you all.
and Donnie Watson.
I'm, Donnie Wall.
Tiffany Reeves,
And I'm with the Bluegrass Ad, I'm the Director of Workforce.
Yolanda Becker,
Business Service Manager, with the Bluegrass Local Workforce Development Area.
Stacy May,
Hi, everyone. I'm Stacey May. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Bluegrass Area Development District and Local Workforce Development Area. And I believe most of you guys have had some sort of interaction with me in the past coming onto the board. So nice to see everybody today.
Colin Mosley,
Yes, I'm Colin Mosley. I'm with the Bluegrass Area Development District, and I am your RIOA Financial Officer.
Kevin Moore,
I'm Kevin Moore, and I'm the Workforce Services Manager.
Bluegrass Area.
Jeremy Hurt,
Jeremy Hurd, I'm the IT Specialist Trainer for the Bluegrass Workforce.
Hannah Gregory,
Yes, I'm Hannah Gregory. I'm the Quality Control Manager for the Bluegrass area.
Rachel Adams,
I'm Rachel Adams. I'm the WIO Compliance and Reporting Manager for the Bluegrass Area Development District, formerly the Staff Assistant to the Commissioner's Office of the Education of Lake County.
Michael Bushman,
Hi, I'm Michael Bushman. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Bluegrass Ad.
Todd Blanton,
Todd Layton, I'm the local operator for the Executive Career Centers in Bluegrass.
Jennifer Hayes,
I'm Jennifer Hayes. I'm the project director for the frontline staff out in the career centers, and I'm with Equus Workforce Solutions.
is there anyone that I missed?
Not Robin.
Oh, Robin, well. Y'all know me, I'm the board staff person that works with the meetings day to day, so you get lots of emails from me, the reminders and the agendas and all that stuff.
Thank you, Robin.
That's it. We definitely have more.
All right, well, welcome to our meeting, our full board meeting. We do have a guest presenter, and I've heard he's going to be like dazzling us with all kinds of information. We got Judge Watson to talk about Estill County, right?
Yeah, I agreed to do this. Anyway, Estill County was formed in 1880, and it was formed from parts of Clark and Madison County. And prior to that, Daniel Boone was, he came into Estill County and he had Estill County and Estill County. Anyway.
Oh, we got that.
Somebody's got yours. We can hear.
I think we need to.
Yeah, you're out there, please. There it is. Okay.
There we go. Anyway, I've lived in Essex County all my life, all except about 6 months, when I was a kid. My dad got a job in the oil field, moved to Lee County, and we moved up there for about 6 months, and then moved back to the same place where we live. And I'm proud of Estill County. I'm glad that I live in Estill County. It's home to me. And we have a lot of things to offer, which most of you probably don't know. But anyway, I'm glad you got Micah on here from Carhartt. That's one of our bigger employees and employers, rather.
Yeah.
And they've been there about close to 100 years. And they are the oldest employer. And other than the school system, I think we had some school employees before those, before they were. But anyway, we have an area technology center at the high school, between the high school and the middle school, which also, serves Powell County. They bring students over, they're bused over and, they go to that, technology center. And in that, technology center, they offer diesel mechanics, nursing, welding, industrial mechanics, computer science, and engineering. So we can turn out, these high school kids that are ready to go work. When they get out of high school, they're ready to go into some kind of a career. Anyway, we've got Camp Burnwood. We don't have it, but it's in Starkey County. The county don't have it. I need to clarify that. But they've got a 650-acre resort that's on Kentucky 89 out toward the north end of the county. Back when I was a kid, that was called Markham. Goes by Markham on that land, and he had all kind of animals, birds, and things to see when you went out there and a place to fish. But anyway, Camp Burnwood is run by the Presbyterian Church. It's open year round for weddings, camping, showers, church groups, and others. It also has a large swimming pool. And back in about 1977, I was hauled water, and I filled that swimming pool one night. We worked all night because I had water to haul during the day. And I kind of upset the fellow that was taking care of the park. They were trying to sleep, and I was running in and out with a water truck. And so we filled it. I think it was 30-some loads of water we hauled in that pool that night. But anyway, they've also got a walking trail, and they've got a large lake there where we can fish. And then there's Aldersgate Camp. It's located in Pittsburgh. I don't know how many acres they've got. It's a large camp. It's run by the Methodist Church. They have campgrounds for RVs, walking trails, swimming pool, cabins, and other things that you can take advantage of there. Also, across the road from the Pittsburgh camp itself, another property they've got over next to the RV park is the Pittsburgh Furnace. And I have a book on the Pittsburgh Furnace here. You all can see the picture of the furnace. It's a large, really large furnace. You can walk inside these openings and look up. It's like standing in a well looking up at that at the top. But anyway, that was a really industrial center at one time back in the 1800s. And cannonballs and all kinds of stuff, you know. And anyway, you can find pieces of the old slag that came out of those places. And that's not the only furnace. We've got one at the old furnace. And there's one at on the federal property at Barber Yard, another furnace, a small furnace. And it used to be open to the public, but they closed it. I think people were littering and doing things that should do so. But anyway, got the Kentucky River Park, which belongs to the county. That's out at Wiseman Crossing. We put in a playground for small children about 3 years ago. And we're in the Kentucky River Water Trail now. And the Appalachian Hydro Authority, they built a hydro plant around at the lock at Lock 12 on the old pipe. And we've got about 5 acres over there that they turned over to the county, and they give us like $8,000 a year to keep trash picked up, grass cut, whatever. But anyway, that's got a pavilion there. You can go there and have a picnic, watch the water go over the falls or whatever you want to do over the dams. In front of that is the golf course, and then across from the golf course is Steam Heritage, where they have different festivals and do train rides with the steam engine. Hardy Oil Company, which is owned by Butch Hardy, he's a local resident, and he grew up there. He built an outdoor pavilion for live music and other things they put on. Not too far from me They got a moonshine seal.
Hey.
I don't promote moonshine. I don't drink, but it's there on Kentucky 52, it's about 400 acres. And,
Is this the, something I see or is it an active one?
it's active, yeah, it's active. Anyway,
But it is illegal.
yes, it's.
Okay.
They put in a little restaurant there and, they serve the pizza real good. I haven't been, but anyway, it's about not only a quarter of a mile from where I live. And, I want to tell you a few things. I took office again in 2019. I served 2 terms before that. One in the 80s, one in the 90s. And I often introduce myself as a reject. Anyway, recycle. But anyway, we were kind of broke when I took office. And they had been sued and they borrowed $1,400,000 in July before I took office in January. Well, we paid that thing off. We paid it off about 3 months ago. Cool. And, we also, we paid the balance off, which was $483,000. We bought the Union Bank across the courthouse, old Union Bank, and the district and circuit judge is located in the sheriff's office. And, we had that set up on 20 years, and we paid that off 2022. We had a note burn out on the sidewalk that little spring of 22, before I run in the primary.
Yeah.
My dad did that back in the 60s. He was judge in the 60s, 2 terms. He paid notes off that had since 1929, and he burned the bonds out from the courthouse on the steps there, and, that's where I got the idea to do it, so I did it. And we're gonna burn it up here shortly. But anyway, we're in the process of becoming a recovery-ready community. The house has been, turned in, and the site's been visited, and that'll give us more opportunities for grants. We got a number of volunteer organizations from the county helping hands for rescue squad, fire department, junior firefighter, ROTC training, and a QRT, which is a quick response, right? Team that goes out if you have something in the hospital, overdose, and they go out and try to work with families to get those in the rehab. But anyway, got ongoing roadside cleanup, ongoing food bank program, 4 times a month, Martin Walls Hospital has been approved for the Kentucky State Like Opioid Stewardship Services Department Bridge Program. And we got a farmer's market every Tuesday at 7. There's a lot going on, and we're trying to move forward. We don't have a lot of industry. Railroad's gone, Southeast Coast's gone, but we've got people looking at that property and hopefully something will be sure out there. But anyway, and I've got the book on the old folks. It might be something you're gonna look at. Got a lot of pretty sites, pretty notes, ways, and
Even you didn't mention my favorite time,
what the
innovation.
innovation.
Yeah.
Oh, the mushroom festival.
I love
Sorry, I meant to mention that. Yeah, we have the mushroom festival and, but I'm not very good at hunting mushrooms. I can see an arrowhead if I'm looking for an Indian arrowhead out in the field. But I cannot see a mushroom.
I feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm trafficking drugs. I'm trying to get those rail mushrooms and I gotta go on Marketplace and meet somebody in the parking lot and then Monday give me a bag. I've heard about all kinds of things. Dry land fish, spring chickens in south.
They are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dealer didn't fix me up this. She left me hanging. There's a lady over in Brown County that hunts smoke.
We have filled that, right, just to.
Oh, no, listen, hunts and raisins, that's everything I was saying.
You don't raise wild.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Thank you so much.
so you're welcome, you're welcome.
Anybody got questions, about, all that? I didn't know about some of the places you're talking about. I've been to urban Esther County a lot. They know some of those places.
Come up, we'll show you.
I love it. Thank you so much. Anybody else got questions? Thank you so much. I know that Hannah on the line there actually took me and met me when we go to the ATC over there. When they first opened up, we went over there. First she opened
We're
over
very
there.
proud of that.
Yes.
It's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you again. And I guess we get on to our action items, which we have a few to deal with today. First off, we've got the meetings from our March meeting, minutes from our March meeting. They were enclosed in the packet and, I'm sure you've had some time to review. And, note taking is always, for our meetings are always pristine and good. And I think we're trying, to make it even simpler. So you grab them, we'll look for a motion to approve our minutes from our March meeting.
Make the motion to approve the minutes from the March meeting.
Dolly in the second. Second over here. All in favor online, if you guys just wave at us. Thank you, that moves forward. Then our special call meeting that happened just a few weeks ago now. The May the 9th special call meeting, that's also been closed. I will need a motion to approve those meeting minutes as well.
I make a motion.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second that, John.
Right, Doc. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Then we get down to the finance report in April, and Colin's on the scene here.
Yes, sir. So, April 2025, at the end of that month, we were at 69% expended on our overall budget. And we were at 65% in the prior year at the same time. Our admin costs were at about 79% compared to 93% in the prior year. Our adult expenditures was 78% compared to 43% the prior year. Our dislocated worker program was 50% expended through April, and that was 51% in the prior year. Our youth expenditures were 65%, and that compares to 63% in the prior year. And at our 20% youth program funds, that they require us to put in the work experience, that requirement was met on all funds expiring June 30th of 2025. Additionally, where we stood at that point with our invoices with Equus, our direct service provider, we did pay their March invoice on May 14th of 25. And then our April invoice, which was received in revised edition on the 13th of May, we did get that submitted this week. I think it was Tuesday, the 3rd, June 3rd. We got that submitted to the state. And so we should have that one paid, very quickly once we get that money. So, if anybody has any questions about that initial report there, I will move on.
We do approval for that one. So questions about April specifically, as that is an action item by itself.
Colin, could you remind us, I know you probably talked about that in our last meeting, but why our expenditures for the adult program was so much more than the previous year?
The adult
Recall.
Why are they specifically, well, oh yeah, so that's what you're saying. So it was 43% the prior year. Last year we had a much thinner budget that we were working through, and this year is more like normal business as usual, and we're trending about where we're supposed to be with our adult expenditures. Last year we were a little bit behind on, just spending all that money as we but this year is much more steady. As far as
Anyone else have some questions about April or comments? No one speaking up, look for a motion to approve April finance report as shown and spoken about.
I make the motion.
And we got a motion, I'm gonna put you at second, Matt.
There.
Thank you. All in favor, aye? Thank you. Now, our budget for the 26th is closing back, and this is for Michael to talk about the 26 budget.
All right. Hopefully my screen is sharing for those that are on remotely. Make it a little easier. Our fiscal year 26 budget, we do have estimated year-end expenses and carryover. So our carryover for 2025, we're estimating about 1.6 million to carry over into fiscal year 26. And then we do have estimated allocations for next year's grants that were given to us by the ELC. And that total is 2.9 million. So that gives us a total budget to use of 4.6 for July 1st of 2025 through June 30th of 2026. The top section is our operating costs. What that means is that's just the Bluegrass Ad board staff, anything in the building. Just a couple items of note. The staff line item here, the total of 819,000. That is up from last year's budget due to two reasons. Last year's budget, we only had about 6 months estimated for an assistant director. That didn't actually take place, but that was budgeted. We were hoping to do that last year. So that's why that's a little decrease. And then also this year, based on our performance evaluations, the way the Bluegrass Ad does salary increases is performance evaluations. This averaged out for the entire ad as a whole as about a 5% increase. So that is also in that 819,000 line item number. Everything else is pretty much, nothing of note really. We do have a larger increase in the phone equipment. That's really due to the software price increases. That's our virtual VR headset licenses and rental fees. That's our Career Center software that we rent. So that is the reason for this increase to that 95,000 line item. Everything else is pretty consistent with prior 3 years of budgeting. So our total Bluegrass Ad costs are 1.6 million. And then moving down to the program delivery and one-stop operator, that is our direct service provider costs. Both those combined are passed through to Equus. We did increase the program delivery about to 1.8 million. And then we also did, just for consistency, we averaged out, since we did 5% staff, we just went ahead and budgeted to be safe 5% for the one-stop operator as well. Again, that is pass through, and that goes on to Equus for them to budget out themselves. And then a couple things of note down here, we do have, that also goes to Equus. We have the Quest grant. 162,000 is remaining from the prior years. Putting young people to work, that is the Kentuckiana Works grant that has passed through Kentucky. And we gave them the full rollover, so a little bit over 1 million. And then trade that we have remaining is also passed through strictly to Equus. We do not have any internal costs for Bluegrass Ad. This total budget gives us a carryover 1.1. We want to kind of hit that number. Historically, the federal level may be a little slow to get it down to the state level to carry out our allocations. So we want to have some good carryover into the next fiscal year, so we do not have any delay in services. So that's why we want to have some pretty good chunk of carryover. Again, we can adjust that if we have needs, if we have something that we need or we see we want to use those funds for, we can adjust that with the budget modification. But for right now, that is what we like to use as our estimated carryover. I know that's a lot, but is there any specific questions for how we did our budgeting?
Open it up for questions for the audience.
You may want to talk a little bit about, I know we had some concerns that maybe funding wouldn't come down, but
You'll tell them how that works and what's the least amount we can get. You get that 90%.
No.
Yeah, it is. Rachel, can you explain? Because Rachel's better at explaining it than I am.
So the Employment and Training Association at the federal level will issue funding to the state. And the state will issue that funding on down to the local areas. There is a requirement in the law that says the local areas cannot receive anything less than 90%. It's 90% of the departments for the past 2-year averages. So planning numbers are usually set out, February, March to the local areas, and then funding is really dependent upon when it comes from the federal level. So your youth funding will always come in April. However, the local areas have yet to receive it. It's a one-time allocation. And then your adult and youth worker are in 2 separate funding parts. Smaller part will come in July. Usually it comes in August or September. And then your largest portion will come from federal fiscal year in October. The local areas should get it in November or early December. This year has been a little uncertainty because of the change in administration, as we know, but we're still waiting on the youth funding to come. It's not uncommon for it to be this late. Sometimes in the past it has been June, or even July. That type of funding comes to the local area. Thank you.
Rachel, have we received anything to acknowledge that we would be improved or not as much this year? I mean, anything flat out other than.
We've got our planning numbers, and normally, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but normally the planning numbers that the state provides us so that we can start, you know what I mean, looking at our budget and stuff like that. It's usually pretty close and pretty spot on, because they have to give you at least 90% of what you got last year, of the previous grant cycle, I should say.
Yeah.
Correct. So that way.
Yes, that's correct. Even to kind of help the board a little bit, last year it was exactly what the planning numbers were, and I think that actually may have been the case 2 years prior. So the planning numbers are usually pretty accurate as to what we would receive.
Thank you.
More questions or comments?
I just had a silly question. I noticed throughout all the reports here, you'll probably get to Colin or Micah, but we've been carrying over an 898 profit.
No, there's no profit.
Well, I didn't understand that. I was trying to figure out what that is. I'm like, we shouldn't be making a profit.
There's no profit at all. Are you talking about on the carryover?
Yeah.
Which one are you
One
talking
of the reports, but on Micah's report, you go to the very bottom, but it's been carried over on the sheets here. For the, about 3/4 of the report total and their one-stop operator cost, the 943.
Oh, the bluegrass ad, okay, let me clarify that. The bluegrass ad, it is not allowed within WIOA law to have performance, right, profit. However, with your direct service provider, that is allowable within WIOA law. So, but there are performance metrics that are set with that. It's a performance-based, we need to have them change that word because it's profit, but it's performance-based. Like, what we currently have and what we'll have for this next, I can go ahead and talk to you about that little part of it. Currently, there's a percentage that the case quality that's in the data management system, Equus has to hit a certain percentage whenever we do our monitoring. And that means that there's no missing documentation, that case notes tell the story, all services are added and all that. The key with that is whenever the state comes in and monitors us and the Department of Labor monitors us, if we don't have everything in that data management system, then we get written up by the state, right? There's a federal metric that we have that's connected with the federal metric, which is credential attainment, right? How many of your individuals that you have exited have obtained a credential, right? We have metrics that are connected with the business service team on how many job fairs are they doing, how many work-based learning contracts are they setting up. On Todd is the one-stop operator. He has metrics placed in there. How many people are you bringing to the table? Are we inviting more people in? And all that. Now, the one thing that I'm adding for this program year coming up is second and fourth quarter employment outcomes, because that's with the federal metrics. Like, I want the performance-based metrics that they get a profit on to match exactly what our federal metrics are, because I don't know I'm not always politically correct, and I'm gonna say this the wrong way, but if there's money attached to something that's gonna be extra in there, they're gonna work a lot harder to hit it. And they always have. Jennifer and them, I mean, I could tell Jennifer that I want everybody to start writing in rainbow. And she would, right, she would. They're so good to work with. Aquas is so good to work with. But those metrics are what's connected with that profit. And if they don't get it, then they don't get it. And it's broken down quarterly in the main budget of all of it. That makes sense. So, yeah, yeah.
Thank you for explaining that.
Anyone else have questions, comments? This is for our 26 budget, and we anticipate everything will be fine. But if things have whatever, throw a curveball, we'll deal with that when the curveball happens, right? So, there's no more questions, comments. We'll look for a motion to approve the budget as is.
John, I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 26 budget.
Thank you. A second? Got a second? Since the audience is kind of quiet, we assume everybody's good. All in favor? Thank you, Michael, and Tiffany for explanation and a budget to set forward.
Thank you.
So next is our policy revisions, and we've got Stacy on point for part A of this. And it looks like it's gonna be a team. We got Rolly, Tiff, B, Stacy jumping in at the different pieces, parts. And this is all really just cleaning some stuff up, changing a few little things. We've already had an executive meeting about this. So Stacy, tag, you're it.
Wonderful. Okay. First thing, let me attempt to share my screen. I don't know why I'm not seeing. There we go. Working from a laptop has never been my friend. Let's see. There, policy template. Okay, can everyone see the new policy template?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. We are changing some things up. When and as some of you may know, I have been with Workforce for near on 20 years. So there's been a lot of changes along the way. And I believe when I first started, I didn't really have anything to do with policies, but the policies were essentially just like, here's what we're going to do written on a sheet of paper. From that, it was kind of handed over to me, and they wanted a system developed. So I came up with something in my novice stage of, if you look at some of the old policies, it has, you know, a number, a name, and kind of a date it was approved and things like that. So as we're moving on, we're going to get a little bit more detailed about it, because we have had questions come up in the past. Nothing bad, just out of curiosity and follow up from different people who have come in and monitored us. And sometimes we didn't have like historical dates, for example. Or, you know, we have found out over time that there are best practices that we could have been following that doesn't really ding against us, but it's just something that we should have considered. And, you know, moving forward, we can improve upon. So we wanted to take that opportunity to do that. So we've kind of revised the policy template. And what we're doing is, and you'll see here, policy name, policy number, those sort of things change. We track now multiple versions of it. I'm going to just skip around a little bit. You'll see the version history going down through there. Prior to that, we really only tracked like what the previous version was. So if we've changed, for example, like OJTs, you know, depending on funding, depending on you know, the costs of things, the rate may change. And that sort of thing changes relatively frequently compared to some other things, like maybe every couple of years. So we quickly ran out of, we don't know, you know, what it was 3 or 4 or 12 years ago. We will now be able to do that by tracking those sorts of things. One of the best practices recommended to us was to have the chair of the BGWIB sign off on it, because the BGWIB, obviously, as we bring these to you today, it's part of your guys' job to review the policies and make sure that you believe, as private and public sector individuals, that these represent the policies to help job seekers and businesses in the community. So the chair would be signing off on it. We did obviously always run policies by you. We have the minutes documenting that, and that's why they said, okay, well, it's good that you have this, but this would be a best practice to have them sign off on it. So that's going to be one of the changes you'll see under approved by, and then the most recent revision date. So that's a couple of the changes. As we go down here, we also broke up this section a little bit by adding some things that, again, we included in the policies already most of the time, or if we saw that it was important, they would have been in the policy. But it was recommended to us that we add certain areas, for example, like monitoring and auditing. So it would have originally been in the policy under most cases if that was relevant to the policy. But we've broken it out now, so it's going to be a quick reference for people who are referencing the policy. Other things, for example, like sanctions for noncompliance, things like that. Those were things that we may not have considered in the past. We would have done them had the situation come up, or have done them if the situation came up, but we didn't have maybe that section in the policy because it wasn't really something we had dealt with when the policy was originally written. So that's kind of how the things are broken up a little bit. I know I went over this kind of quickly. So if you guys have any questions about how this was laid out or why we sort of chose this, please let me know. I'm here to answer questions. If there are no questions, we are recommending that you guys approve the new policy template for us to move forward with eventually changing over all the policies to this new format to add the additional information and clarification on the policies. That's what you'll see with some of the new policies that Roly and Tiff and maybe Kevin and some folks are going to go over with today.
Okay, so this is the information template, tracking. I personally think it's great, but do we have any questions or comments from our group here? Not, look for a motion to approve the template that Stacy's thoughtfully created.
Now, this is Connie, I approve.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Connie,
Go ahead.
did you get that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were
Can I
trying to.
clarify?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's a little bit of clarification on this vote. The thing is to approve the new template. and grandfather in the old policies that there are no changes to this template.
Oh, yes, I apologize. I apologize for that, Tiff. I forgot that they weren't broken up into separate parts. I know. I apologize. So yes, the second part of the request is there are several policies, as I'd mentioned, that some things just didn't change. Like the information was already there. It was just laid out differently. So when it switched over to the new template, it would have filled in everything that would be in that section without any new information being added. So we are requesting that if you approve the template, you also approve any policies that would already have that information provided with no changes. If there are changes of any kind, Tiff and everyone there will be going over those separately, either now or in later meetings. So I apologize for missing that part, Tiff.
Okay, I'm fully understanding with that. Connie, are you still good with that?
Yep.
She's good, and you're sure gonna make the motion? Motion approved, A and B parts there, existing to be reported, new to be documented as and reported, and history thereof on this new schedule.
Same information just going into the template, is what we're saying.
Right, in a different way.
Yeah.
If there is any significant change that we want to make, we will bring that forward, like second.
That's second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Stacy. I think that's great. Rolling. No, yes, rolling.
All right, so we made some, states taking care of template stuff, and we've kind of revamped, policies, kind of made some updates and things to the nature. I've been working on the OJT policy, which stands for on-the-job training. For those that aren't familiar with what an on-the-job training with, on our world, is more of a reimbursement, opportunity that we present to our employers that we work with. So clients who come to the career center to utilize our service, we connect them with opportunities with employers. And one of those opportunities could be on-the-job training, which is a reimbursement, 50% reimbursement for the employer. So essentially it's their employee, but we can reimburse the employer up to 50% of the wage that they earned during that training period. So the on-the-job training policy was, or that particular service has been one that we have used quite a bit. We've been doing a lot of work-based learning, so we wanted to revamp the on-the-job training program itself. So we wanted to update the policy, which hasn't been updated in quite some time. So I want to touch on a couple highlights. I won't go through the entire thing, but I wanted to touch on a few of the major highlights that you'll see. The first thing is that we went from reimbursement at the very end of the policy of the training program. So in years past, when we did an on-the-job training with an employer, we wouldn't reimburse the company to the very end of the training. So for instance, if they did a 12-week on-the-job training opportunity with the client in the business, we wouldn't reimburse the company until after the 12 weeks were up. And then we received pay records from the employer. Now what we're presenting is that we're going to try to do it at monthly reimbursement. So we will reimburse the employer monthly as opposed to the very end of the training period. The second major thing that we changed on the on-the-job training is the wage requirement. So in years past, when we did it, again, this quite some time since we did the on-the-job training, is that the requirement for an employer was to make that they would have to pay the employee no less than $10. Well, that's changed. Farm to Labor sees $15 an hour as a good benchmark for a good living and sustainable wage. So we switched hours to $15 an hour as the requirement for the employer, as the minimum requirement for the employer to pay the individual to put through that program, the on-the-job training program, with the exception of the rural counties. And we use the RUC, and just to kind of help you guys navigate through that, if you turn to page 7 of the policy, through that, you'll see the language in a couple spots. It's on page 7 of the policy. You'll also see it in page 5, but you'll see it highlighted very well on page 7 about the reimbursement piece of it, but also the rural counties. You'll see that in page 5. And the rural counties that we were following, they're RUP, which stands for rural urban continuum codes, which is an acronym for RUCC. And this is the same thing that the KY Stacks utilizes to determine a rural county. So we figured that since the state is following that as a guideline, we're gonna follow it as well. So what that means is, if you're a rural county, you have, we can make that an exception that they don't have to, follow that $15 an hour based on some labor market information that we can run in the area. So if the labor market information backs that up, so if we run labor market information and we run it, it says 1375 is livable, then we'll make that exception for the company. But for those companies that do not fall in the rural counties, their benchmark is $15 an hour. So again, the two biggest things that you'll see is the reimbursement and then the rural counties. And then, the other piece is lowering it from $10,000 to $6,000, but I don't know that we can discuss that.
So, and I'll step in on that part. So I had researched how much across the state with other areas that their individual training account is, right? Because even with, and basically what that is how much you're gonna spend per participant. Okay, we had discussed at the finance meeting, during the informational session about changing our amount. Our total is 10,000 per participant, right? In researching, the other local areas, we're one of the higher ones. And Jennifer, I'm gonna have you pop in too. We have all kinds of teamwork today on these policies. But with Jennifer, I had her pull numbers to show how much we normally spend on an individual, right? What do we actually spend? So, and Jennifer had said it was anywhere, correct me if I'm wrong, between about 4,800 to 5,500, right? Okay. So what we talked about at the finance committee, and what they said that it was the recommendation to bring to you all is that, at the next full, because I've got my notes, so I say it the right way. At the next full BGWIB meeting to suggest that the amount of the limit for the WEX and the ITA be changed, which includes the OJT, to 6,000 with the added possible instances for the limit to be increased up to 10,000 if the approval, with the approval of the Director of Workforce Services as needed. This would be reviewed by case basis, and then I will report that back to you all, to the WIB members. So that's the background on that part. Questions?
This specific OJT policy.
It's only to, well, OJT and.
Well, all we're gonna do is the policy updates. From number 1 through. 4 as a group. Or one.
So does that 6,000 lower amount, is that reflected in our current budget we just reviewed? Does it change?
Well, I think.
I guess my real
Change that we can help the people, because Jennifer and I, so.
still the same month.
Yes, yes,
It's just, okay.
yes.
I didn't know if we had to show it.
No. No, it's gonna be the same, because here's the thing, like, when an individual comes into our program and they are enrolled, we know that we wanna just spend is, let's say they wanna go to a CPL training, right? Well, that's just 5,000, but that other, where our policy is set currently at 10,000, that other 5,000 is kind of earmarked, and we gotta wait until this person that we pay for the CPL does good, because they may need more money for something else. But on average, I mean, we never spend that money. Now, also, because we do have some current, clients that are in work-based learning. I want those individuals to grandfather, just because you're putting the business and the client in a very bad spot. And we don't ever wanna, because our businesses technically are our true customers. But just those that are currently, Jennifer, how many do we currently have in work-based learning?
We currently have 19.
19. So, but, and in the reality of it, how much do we normally spend on our work-based learning participants? It's right about the same as what. So.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What about someone who's trying to go BCTs,
Okay, so you've got to start thinking about all the different resources that are actually out there, because our funds are the last, right? So there are scholarships, right? There's keys money. And then, now, we don't take and say, oh my gosh, you gotta take out student loans, right? We don't. That's whenever there's the work ready scholarships, the big one. So if an individual, if you come to me and say, I want to go to BCTC and take a 2-year program for information technology. We're gonna see if you're eligible for Pell Grant, CAP Grant, and all that. We're gonna see, we're gonna get you connected so that you can apply for the Work Ready Scholarship. And then that's whenever that end in total kicks in. Jennifer, on average, I think maybe about 1,500 a semester, maybe 2,000 is what we pay on our part for individuals to go to BCTC and stuff like that. So now, if you want to go to UK, here's the reality of it. Our money is not going to pay for all the UK anyway. But with WIO law, we do have customer choice. We can say, this is all we got that we can help you with. You got to get the rest of it figured out, because we never want anybody to like have student loan debt, start out in the hole. But ours is the last, and we will help them navigate through all the others.
That's even somebody just graduated.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the target group.
Yes, now, and let me be very clear. If they're wanting to go in the high demand sectors, absolutely. If they come and say they want to do basket weaving, I'm so sorry. I hope that you create something that ends up at a museum. But our ITA funds have to go toward high demand sectors, anything that's going to do with the high demand. So, yeah. Yeah.
Like an electrician.
Yes,
Yes,
but if they're
especially-
interested in being an electrician, what we would technically do is get them connected with probably AMTech, to see if they want to go through the apprenticeship program. So they're.
Working every day and goes through the night, sitting with us.
Well, for us, they would just go to work and we train them while we work.
It's hands-on. So, yeah.
We've got,
No, he's sending you.
yeah, and Jennifer actually got 7, I think 7 to finish the 19 she's talking about her on, with me right now. She started Monday.
Is that right?
Yep. She started Monday, they're day 4 of their employment as we speak.
Through this program.
Through well, it's through the,
Putting you in Kentucky as the first.
but it's through the services, the same type of services. They're
And
full
some
time.
And some of those participants came,
Oh, that, go ahead.
I said, and some of those participants came out of Estill County ATC. Some
They
of
did
those
not.
did.
Oh, one of them did, yes.
Is that right?
For kids.
Well, there, we got connection.
That covers the,
Yeah.
OJT policy, so I guess we're looking at 2 separate votes here, right? We're looking at the approval of the OJT policy and also, lowering it from 2,000 to 6,000, right?
If they approve the policy, it'll be in.
So our first item, which is 5B, Roman numeral 1. We just want to make sure we make all the correct political statements here and do a vote just on B1, Roman numeral 1, OJT policy that we'll talk about, which we looked at. So we're looking for a motion to approve that, and we'll move on to the transition of this vote. Motion to approve the policy as spoken by, which gets to the $15 and $6,000 and all that.
I don't go.
Motion, y'all left. We accept your honorary motion. Thank you.
Because this is the WIB, so they gotta make.
So, we got an honorary motion, so we're looking for an official motion.
I'll do an official motion.
All right, thank you. And a second?
I'll second that, John.
Got a second, and we've had plenty of discussion, so I assume all the discussion has already been had. Motion to approve. Aye, thank you. Rolly, we got you taken care of. Now, let's go to the transitional OJT policy. Rolly, speak again.
Well, I will make it very simple. The OJT transitional and the OJT, in general are basically they're gonna vary a whole lot. The guidelines stay the same. The transitional OJT allows us to work with, that allows us to work with individuals that are in recovery or things of that nature, kind of like our transitional work-based learning. The only thing that really changes on this is that it allows us to step outside the 5 high-demand sectors, but the reimbursement, or the 6 high-demand sectors, sorry, but what this does is it allows us to step away from that. The reimbursement is gonna change kind of monthly, just like how we discussed. The $15 an hour still apply, the rural counties piece still applies. And then there's also a limit with, how many active OJT transitional employees we can have at one time, which is 5 at one time. So that's kind of like the difference that you're seeing from the regular transition or OJT and the transitional OJT.
So there's only 5 candidates in given time?
Can I get
At one time
clarification?
for transitional.
I'll get clarification.
Please.
Within Wheel law, your transitional funding, right, you take your adult and dislocated worker funding, put it together. You can spend 10% of that for transitional jobs. Those are just transitional jobs do not have to be from the high demand sectors. Whenever we've used our transitional funding for OJTs and work-based learning, it's connected with individuals typically that are in recovery or something like that, individuals that are coming out of recovery, are in recovery and in the phase where they are ready to start working and things like that. If you throw them in a manufacturing field at 40 hours a week, plus we're gonna let you know at noon whether you're working overtime that day, it can become very stressful. So whenever we have our transitional individuals, we walk them into employment opportunities that's not gonna be as stressful for them so that their recovery, because the recovery is the most important thing, right? So that's the difference in the OJT and then the transitional OJT is one big, huge guidance that you all need to understand the difference in that.
And John, to clarify on that 5 active at one time, currently the current policy that we currently have is 2 active at one time. So this allows us to do actually 5 as opposed to 2. So we're actually increasing it.
So basically, this is helping the people with a little bit more barriers involved.
Correct.
Yes.
Any questions about that for Rolly or Tim? Or any of the team that might want to answer a question about that? Yeah,
That's how we do it.
obviously, I'm looking for a motion to move forward with this, unless someone has some questions or comments.
I'll make a motion to approve the transitional OJT policy.
Thank you, Doc. And a second. Good to go. All in favor? Thank you, Rolly, that is good. And now Tiffany's got the seat.
Yeah, on this one, it was just a quick, let me get my paper here on the notes. On the out of area job search, in the definitions, we just removed older youth, right? Should an individual, because I mean, everything else in the policy is the same. Typically, if we have a youth that is wanting to gain funds for an out of area job search, we will co-enroll them as an adult anyway. So, because you're allowed to do that, because, in WIOA law, especially like with your, well, with all of it, you can really co-enroll to see which way you can help the individual the best. So that's the only change. I removed older youth from the definition. That's it.
So just basically a word change.
It's a word change.
You know,
And it's not that we're not gonna, right, it's not that we're not gonna help. If we have a youth that is enrolled and then they say, okay, I've got a job a potential for a job in Louisville, right, because that's out of our area. We would just go enroll them as an adult, and then they would use support service money, anything under 100 miles, they'd get a $10 gas card. That works. I know. If it was between 100 and 199 miles, it's 50, but all the rest of that's the same. The only thing we're gonna do is older you can definition.
Just want to revisit that.
Okay.
So. Our job search policy, as Tiffany has explained, any questions about that specifically?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Matt. And a second?
Second.
Second over here. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And now we're back to Tiff again.
And the ITA, the only change in it is going from the 6 to the 10 with the exact same verbiage that is in the OJT and the transitional OJT on that 6,000 with the possibility of up to 10,000, but then I update the law.
That's
it.
Just changing it from the 10,000 overall down to 6,000 with exceptions as needed, case by case.
All in.
Looking for a motion for that. Well, let me open it up. Somebody might have questions. Sorry. Anybody have questions? Look for a motion. Seen a hand?
I second.
Thank you.
I can't remember.
It was Connie, I think, yeah.
In the corner of Paula Nolan.
Yeah, my eyesight's terrible. Just so you know, everyone on the screen, your name is like little bitty for me. I can see figures with my eyesight, that's about it. So we got a motion for this, I think, correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we've made it through policy updates or D.
No, we still have 4.
Oh, no, we still got 4. Okay, wrong number 4, I'm sorry. Individual, no, it's all right.
No, it's the next one.
Oh.
We're on C.
Now we're on C, but yeah,
Yep.
policy updates, B, we got that. Now we need to go to C, you're right.
Tip real quick. Everything's going from 10 to 6, but the WEX policy is not on it. So that will need to change also, correct?
Correct.
So that should have been number 7.
It should.
I don't know if you all can.
We got so focused.
The WEX changed from.
Stacy?
Correct.
Yeah, Stacy.
Yes.
And we forgot to update the work-based learning policy to be in here. We have the OJT and we have the ITA. So is it okay if we say it's okay to update the work-based learning policy to adjust the 6 from the 10 to the 6 with the same verbiage as?
Yeah, if the board is comfortable with that, absolutely. If the board is comfortable having us go ahead and make those changes, then we absolutely can. And what we'll do is once the change is made, we'll just send out an email just so everybody sees that the change was made. John has to sign off on it anyway. So, but we'll just send out an email just showing everybody that the change was made to keep everything transparent.
Vote on the WEX as an individual thing, just to clarify that. I was looking for your advice, Stacey.
We can add to the agenda, make a motion to add that to the agenda to make a motion. So it's a 2-step process.
All right, but before we do that, we have some people in the audience here, and we have a lot of lingo that was just thrown out there. Might have missed some people here.
John, I can explain that really.
Yeah, people told all these accidents we're using in the long versions, so everybody understands all the things. But what it is You know, a cap on the money. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can explain it. So the one that we're talking about currently, we keep saying WEX, it's our work experience. So think of it as the internship program. And essentially the way that one works with our employers is that we pay their salary and their workman's comp at the prevailing wage that they, would typically pay someone for that particular position that they're hiring them at. So what we're looking at is right now we're currently voting on lowering the individual amount from 10,000 to 6,000. So that would also have to apply for the work-based learning program. So, since we're lowering it, the way the work experience will look like now and how it is currently written is $10,000 per individual or 480 hours. So the way that we're presenting it now is that the individuals will not be limited to an hour to do an internship program. It's just when they hit the $6,000. So, so the way we're looking at it now is just in an hour basis. So we're looking instead of, because the way it's written currently is, they can do up to 480 hours for $10,000. And the reason it's written in their both is because depending on how much they may either hit the $10,000 first, or they may hit the hours first, depending on the hour, how much they make. So what we're proposing now is, since we're lowering it from $10,000 to $6,000, is that there's not going to be no current tied to it. It's just going to be $6,000.
So the employer could pay $25 an hour.
Right, and whenever they hit 6,000,
That's it.
right, but on our process, like the way that it's all set up, like we'll have broken down if they're paying $25 an hour. In the work-based learning contract and agreement, it'll have how many hours that is, so that the client knows and the business knows as well. We've got that set up already.
So officially, I think we need a motion to add this to our agenda and then a motion to approve that. So Matt, you're eloquent on this stuff. I normally challenge you to make these wordy motions.
I was trying to think of how to do it too. I think you said it pretty well. Like, yeah, let's go ahead and make that change as described. I will get it wrong if I try to repeat all those words.
So a motion to add, Matt, look for a
Yes.
second.
Second.
Second, all in favor of adding this agenda item? Okay, now a motion to approve the WEX, it's a $6,000 limit as Rolly talked about. Well, we got that motion. I'm ready to say aye. A motion to, make that 6,000 WEX approval.
Motion to approve.
Good.
I'll motion to
Okay,
approve.
thank you. I don't know if you, add comments. A second,
I'll second.
second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Todd and Rolly, for bringing that to the attention. Now,
Now we're on the scene. You want me to go?
that's you.
Yeah, so, truth be told, even if y'all say no to this one, it really, that I hate to say this, but it is what it is. Both of these policies, the ETPO, years ago, the local areas were the ones that approved training providers that would be on the ETPO. The ETPO is the eligible training provider list in which when individuals want to, receive WIOA funds for like going to BCT and stuff like that, that training has to be on the ETPL. The local areas no longer do that, the state does, right? So that policy is obsolete. On the focused assist approval queues, focused career went away. The state no longer has that system. I guess you all just vote to say, yeah, you agree that these policies, but I mean, even if you said, no, we still want these policies, there's nothing we're doing with them.
ETPL is gone.
No, it's not that it's gone, used to the local areas
Yes.
took care of that.
Yes.
Now the state does.
I wonder why I was silent about that, because we used to get requests for information on that.
Well, we know. So, yeah, so I guess you all vote to agree that these can be sunsetted.
So the eligible training provider list and the assist approval queues are no longer something we need to deal with.
Correct.
Can we get rid of both these in one?
They-
Or have to have two votes?
I don't see that. I think we can get rid of them in one vote.
This is not a change to the wording.
No.
So I don't see why we couldn't. I agree.
Okay, so this
You
off-street
can,
policy.
you can. It's a motion to sunset the what,
Policies that are no longer.
antiquated, irrelevant, whatever, outdated policies listed in the agenda.
Thank you. So off-street policies that are no longer something we need to worry about, look for a motion to approve, not worried about these anymore, right?
Correct.
Yep. This is Connie. I approve.
Thank you, Connie. A second.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, got a second. All in favor? Let's not worry about these two items ever again, unless something makes us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. All right, so policy wording changes, back on the scene.
Yeah, the only thing that we changed from COVID-19 response, we reworded it disaster response.
Okay.
That's it.
So on D, Roman numeral I, or looking for any questions about that, changing from COVID-19 to disaster relief, to make perfect sense because, you know,
Yeah.
that encompasses more ideas, right?
Yeah.
And future disasters. I look for a motion to approve that as stated.
Debbie Allen.
Thank you.
I'll
I got
second.
both. I got 1 and 2. We're good to go. All in favor? Aye. Good, thank you. DI is approved. D2.
Change the word from monitoring policy to program monitoring.
All right. These word changes.
I don't like Robert's Rules of Order because I was like, it's a word.
So we're adding words. So look for a motion to approve D2 unless someone has some really good conversation they want to add about that.
Make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Dolly. A second. I thought Stacy was going to 12 seconds. She was pressing. We got Darlene. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Okay, now we're on to D3.
Yep. Needs related payment underneath the definitions, we have that a dislocated worker was 18 or older. It's just a cleanup of it. A dislocated worker could be anyone that's working. It doesn't matter their age. So we just removed on the dislocated worker, the 18 or older. It's an individual. Because we still have the adult definition on there.
So those have to be.
18 or older. But it is
I make a
located.
motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Matt says. I got a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Word changes are simple, or word deletions are simple. All right, Roman numeral 4.
That's what.
Oh, should I eat?
Yeah, okay, that was released, so I don't know. So on the satisfactory progress report, in the definitions, we just specifically had one, we had just the national dislocated worker definition in there. Technically, what I did is in section 3 on the policy, I reworded that to say a continuation of tuition payments will be based on the WIOA enrolled participants making satisfactory progress. If you get, okay, so let's say you go in your fall semester, and then you come to us and you want funds in your spring semester for college, right? You have to have a satisfactory grade. I think it's 2.0, I want to think. If you don't have a 2.0, then you're not getting funds for the spring semester.
I'm all about that.
So, and that was the only thing, instead of having every single definition, it's just the WIOA enrolled participant, because if they are a WIOA enrolled participant, they're gonna be an adult, a dislocated worker, a youth, or the national dislocated. So, that's all they did that was.
Any questions about D4 or comments? Now we'll look for a motion to approve. Motion to approve. A second.
Second, John.
Got a second? All in favor with that? I'm definitely in favor with the satisfactory. Thank you.
That's what that makes sense.
New policy, we got rapid response, and this is rolling.
Okay, so, for those that aren't familiar with what rapid response is, rapid response is when a company's closing down, they're downsizing, or, there's a bit of layoffs, and we provide a rapid response. Todd usually leads those rapid responses, how you can organize them. We bring in partners, but we provide an informational session basically about what services are available to them to make that transition to their new, that transition over from being employed by the employer to looking for work, what resources are available to them. So basically, this policy is for us to have a detailed framework to operate out of. It's basically keeps us in line. It's based on the rapid response manual and also from the WIOA, which is Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act regulations. But that's all it is. It's the policy, the people line.
Any questions for Roland? That I look for a motion to approve the new policy, rapid response.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A
Second.
Second. All in favor, Roland's rapid response. Thank you. Action items are officially, and that was a little bit to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody's attention to this. Now, we get the fun part. Informational.
Okay, so on the informational item, the board, membership terms, right? We've got several individuals who, are set to expire 10/31/2025. Stacy will be me or Stacy will be reaching out because probably Stacy, will be reaching out to say, hey, are you wanting to continue? Do we need to, what's the correct word, renomination? Reappointment.
Reappointment, yeah.
Appointment. So that's the information on that. And then we wanted to talk to you about the fact that we will also, help me with this, Stacey, to make sure I've got my words right. On the voting, we know that, we talked about them having to vote.
For the executive committee,
Yeah,
I took another look at it and that's not until next year.
okay.
But it
So
is something, we did want to put it on everyone's radar because we'll be coming up with nominations and we are aware that we will probably be losing at least one member of the executive committee in the upcoming year. So those sorts of things will need to be considered. Unfortunately, so just to put it on everybody's radar to be thinking if there's anyone that is interested in being considered for the executive committee, then we'll hold elections. We do have the option of reappointment if there are no nominations. We can just put everyone back in their same place. Just something to think about. Also, to be aware, only workforce representatives and private sector businesses can hold those positions, and only private sector businesses can be chair or vice chair. So, also things to consider, but we can get into a little bit more into that later on. But it's just more of an update.
Let me just keep it on down. The next thing in your packet, I had written down what page number it was, but I forget. I just wanted to, it's right past everybody's membership, the membership part. It's the letter that we got from the BGWIB for our board certification. That our BGWIB board is certified until June 30th of 2027. It's in there, it's information to let you all know that we got all that squared away. Good for me to scroll right on down?
Keep on.
It's right here. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you all about is, we had an idea about possibly placing some of our tablets at a couple of the county courthouses or different locations in counties. For those that you all aren't familiar about what we do with our tablets, it's like a little iPad almost. You got it turned on? So we would place, it's this, what you all on screen, we should have shared it, sorry. But it can connect them with the Career Center. We're already at the libraries. We're already, have some at some of the recovery houses. But we had the idea to put them out in some of the other locations that's more heavier traffic. Maybe like BCBS, at some of the courthouses where they have drug court. So that whenever individuals come out, if they're saying, hey, I can't find a job, I need this, I need that. All you have to do is the tablet would be there. Well, it's not, okay, it's clicked. And it'll take straight to our referral form and some information about our services. That's it. We were just sort of see if you all were good with that. If there was any specific counties that you all think we should focus on.
Only concern I have is it's small and happen out the door.
Oh, no, it'll be attached.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be.
Would you place it in the courthouse or in a particular office, say the judge's office or what?
Well, that's the thing. If they say it's okay, then I'm gonna be reaching out to the judges and say, where y'all want us to put those. So I'm gonna leave that. I would like to leave that up to the Leos because they know their county best.
But I think if you selected outside, that'd be something, in the hall or something.
Yeah.
I see like,
Well,
on the wall, wherever this goes.
it contains careers. Yeah.
Would you focus on the non-rural counties or the rural counties that are identified in some of our policies?
I would prefer to.
That way, the banner on the wall might draw their attention because it is kind of small. That's
Yeah.
what the purpose is.
We have those Kentucky Career Center things that could we put that in
Now,
consideration?
now you gotta find some
If they
real
don't
estate
think
wall.
of it, there's a job center, then no.
But you would have to promote it,
Oh, yeah.
that it's there.
Yeah. To us, it's just another resource that we're planning on, you know what I mean, if you all are good with it, you know what I mean, and it's just informational, let you all know that that's what we're looking at doing, because we have them, they're not being used, right? So let's use them. And if and in my head, it's not all, it doesn't always work the right way, but let's say that we have it set up, Judge Watson, let's say that we have it set up at somewhere in your county that you say, I think this would be a good place to have it set. This is a good organization to work with, right? If we've got it set there for about 4 months and we don't get any bites off of it, then I'd come to you and say, hey, we got nobody looking at it here. We've not got anybody's click on it, no, you know what I mean, or anything like that. So maybe we try, because it's something that's easy to move around to figure out where it would be best to have. So that's it.
I like it.
Would a technology center be out of the question? For like a graduating person, or they're already in?
Like the ATCs?
No, that would be, I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
that's a good idea there.
I think we know a guy.
Right.
I think we know a guy.
Yeah, we know a guy in one county, don't we? Yeah. Okay, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. We got Jennifer to give us, and I know it's kind of later in the day, but Jennifer, you always bring the light, so give us some good news.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I'll keep it a little bit brief, but certainly answer any questions. But in your packet, you'll see the April 2025 monthly report. I give Tip one of these every single month, and it's just kind of a summary of the services that we provided during the month. And so at the end of April, we had enrolled 119 WIOA participants plus 71 non-WIOA putting us at a total of 190 participants enrolled for the year. That's up compared to April of 2024 with 76. So substantially increased enrollments have taken place this year. We've also continued to increase and strengthen our outreach to our partners out in the community. I've started breaking down the monthly report by county now so that people can see that we are actually on the ground of each of our 17 counties every month. And then just some highlights to hit really quick is that we still have 2 WEX participants at the Harrodsburg water treatment plant. So that was a special initiative we were launching for Mercer County. Tiff and I also met with an entire room full of water treatment operators and water treatment leadership staff to promote work-based learning with water treatment agencies, just because we know that a lot of those operators are aging out and near retirement. So we know that that's a gap that we need to fill. So we're working closely with water treatment operations. And then another initiative that John mentioned earlier was that we did start 7 participants this week in the Quick Start AmTech program. And so those are all young adults, age range 18 to 24, most of which are 18-ish. And so those are going to be 7 individuals that start into the AmTech program and become electricians. So we're super happy and excited about that. Another initiative is that we're working with childcare. So we're working with Miss Debbie Link, who I think is on here. But we have 4 participants enrolled for the childcare initiative. We have a childcare agency who signed on with us in Mercer County. So we've got 2 participants, I think, ready to go there. And then we've got 2 participants that we are partnering with Child Council to become in-home providers. So we have 4 total for the childcare initiative. We also are fixing to launch a partnership with BCTC this month. We have up to 12 is what we're sponsoring. So 12 young adults to get a welding helper certificate. That'll start in the month of June. So that's another partnership. And then we also have, in partnership with BCTC, we also have our second CDL cohort initiative for Estill County, which is going to launch in August. So our vision, Tiff's vision, my vision, all of us, Rolly, Kevin, Todd, all of us providing the services, we want to touch every single county, and we want to have a special initiative in every single county. So that we can say, in this county, we're doing this, and in that county, we're doing that. So we've got 17 counties to serve, and we're happy to do it. But that's just some of the initiatives that we have. If you all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Jennifer. I will tell you, the 7 people that's there are doing exceptionally well. So their future looks very bright.
Great work, Jen, team.
And I want to highlight one of her employees, Amanda Whittle, has been there to make sure that those 7 individuals are on the right path, got everything taken care of. She was there every day. But she got everything taken care of yesterday, so hard workers there.
Yeah, that's really good. That's good news, and I'm always happy to hear that. It's not really easy to do these WEX participants, and I know that they explained what the word WEX meant earlier. It's a paid internship where these young adults join our payroll, so we pay them, they're on our salary. We handle workers' comp, we handle if they can't make it to work, we handle them learning how to punch in and out of Paycom so that they can get paid. And then oftentimes we have to coach and teach them about, you've got to call in if you don't make it to work, or you've got to stay off your phone. So it's all coaching these young adults how to become employable out in the field, and it's not easy. And so we have 19 currently, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot when you're coaching these individuals how to become young adults in the workforce. So we appreciate your all support. Thank you.
I just wanted to comment quickly. and the 4 people that we have going through this program, it really is, has a big economic development kind of support system to it too, because each teacher that goes into the system can on average puts 8 spots for childcare back into the system. So it's a huge impact on the communities, especially those that are deserts or have very few slots. So I'm so thankful and excited for this project. So thanks again for your team.
Awesome. Any questions or comments for Jennifer? I'm thinking that, these programs that she's talked about, the real good successes, will have some good success stories in the future about these outcomes, so.
Yeah, one other quick thing. I know it's late and everybody's tired, but just while we've been on this meeting, BCTC Workforce Solutions sent me an email, and they gave me a picture of we did a nurse aid cohort for Lincoln and Garrett counties. So we funded some young adults to get their nurse aid certifications, and that happened at the Danville BCTC campus. And so just since we've been on this meeting, they sent me a picture of all of our young adults in a success story. So, I mean, we're truly impacting lives every day, one at a time.
Yes. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Our wrap-up guy that's always here. Thank you, Jennifer. Our wrap-up guy that's always here. Yeah, our wrap-up guy over here.
Well,
Mr. Todd Blanton.
Unfortunately, they forgot the other 25 pages about recording this package, and we're just gonna start from the top if everybody would. No, I'm just joking. I'll keep this quick. So this is the report for April. We had 757 in-person walk-ins across our 3 centers. 203 new referrals. I mean, we're getting referrals from everywhere. This month, I just ran the numbers. We're up to 270 for this month. So we're getting referrals from all kinds of places and partner agencies. We had a couple rapid responses in the month of April, Danimer and Winchester, Yokohama. We're still meeting with the Bluegrass Chemical Action at the depot there. Rolly and I have been out just last week to do a town hall meeting to kind of talk about our services. So when they wrap up, our staff are still keeping Fridays open there in Richmond to meet with folks from the depot. All the hiring events and DR events that Jeremy and all the Jennifer staff do are on there. Brief descriptions of the rapid responses. Other than that, we've been working on the MOU. I know that we closed down the Scott County office back in March. I've been in talks with the Scott County Public Library. They're going to become one of our access points, as well as the BCTC Adult Education. We're going to have staff with office hours there. We've just got somebody new hired, so they're still kind of getting settled in, but we'll have 2 places there in Scott County that we have monthly office hours, so we still got a presence in the Scott County area. But that's pretty much it. I'll take questions if you have them. Otherwise, we'll forget about the other 24 pages of that review.
We're in business on the next meeting. Have the other 24 pages. Any questions for Todd? It's kind of a team effort with Jennifer and Todd. They kind of get into it. That's all team effort. And the outcome's always great. I appreciate everybody being in attention today. It's a longer meeting we normally have.
Yes.
We got a lot to deal with. So I hope everybody has a great future weekend, but we need the official adjournment request. Motion to adjourn, someone, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. We have a second.
Second.
Everybody have a good rest of the week. Thank you for being here. See you next time.